launch of 10th edition, I figured maybe I should go through some of these books just to see what all I have. And so here's just the basic collection of my Warhammer and Periphery games. And so I'm just going to kind of sit here and we'll grab each book out. I'll maybe cover a little bit about it. Okay, so we'll start this off with our core rulebook. So here's our 4th edition core rulebook. This basically got me started in the game, even though I dabbled in 3rd edition. I really didn't do a whole lot gameplay-wise until 4th. Then we have our 5th edition core rulebook. The vast majority of my gameplay happened during 5th. Heavily into 5th. Then I believe this is our 6th edition Codex. Obviously, it's got substantially thicker between 5th and 6th editions. A lot of rules were added, especially like flyers and chariots and stuff like that. And then with 7th edition, we actually got even more rules with our formations. And so they ended up breaking the book into 3 parts. So you got your Dark Millennium book, the rule book, and the Galaxy at War book. So that's our 7th edition book, I believe. After 7th edition, we got our 8th edition core rule book. Pretty sure that's this one. I never played 8th edition really. By that point, I was kind of burned out on Warhammer, but I got the book. I did a few demo games with some friends. But the majority of my time was spent finding new ways to play. There was a really, really cool mission in the narrative rules right here. Meat Grinder, though. This mission was great. After 8th edition, we got our 9th edition book, which I did pick up, even though I had basically stopped playing Warhammer by that point. And I actually don't think I've ever even opened this book. I don't remember if I got it through a friend or if I bought it or if it came in a starter box. I don't remember where I got it from. It's been sitting on a shelf ever since I got it. So some of the supplemental books that came out along with that, I got the Planetary Empires campaign. So I got the book for Planetary Empires. I still have all these tiles, although I probably moved over to using the Hexen Hill tiles more often now. Here's your Battle for Makagi little starter book. Cute little starter book. Brought you through a bunch of battles, and this was actually some of the first games I ever played full out, actually following the rules, struggling through with my brother. Then you got your Assault on Black Reach. It's very similar to your Battle for Makag, but now it's the 5th edition with your Orcs and your Space Marines. So Dark Vengeance, we got something similar, right? And I have 2 different versions of that. I got the How to Play and the How to Play update for Dark Vengeance. And then, I don't remember exactly if there was at that exact same time frame, but Games Workshop had came out with this like easy to do starter game called the Battle for Verdos. Orcs and Space Marines, a lot of the same kits from that the Assault on Black Reach box were in there. So a lot of cool. I thought my daughter would really enjoy this, so this is what we kind of started with. You can kind of get an idea what the rules were like here. And we bought a bunch of stuff for this, and that's how she started her Orc army out. The Fate of Krenor, I believe this was the 8th edition starter campaign that came out, and I ran it at my local store down in El Paso, so they let me keep this manager's guide when it was over. I don't remember if I've even looked at this lately, but I thought there was maybe some cool things in here, so I kept it. Uh, then we started, they started doing their box sets, the two where they gave two different armies in a little book. So I have a few of those. Like I have Shadow Spear, which was Marines versus Chaos Marines. Nice box set. I have the Demonkin one as well. Was also Marines and it's Chaos Marines. Kind of came out in 8th edition when you first got that Demonkin. I ended up with 2 of this model actually, and I don't think I would ever use a second one, so he's still sitting on spruce somewhere. Tooth and Claw, that was your Genestealer cult versus your Space Wolves. I ended up with the Genestealer's cult part of this box, but not the Space Wolves. I don't remember if I traded them with my brother or if I did it with someone else, maybe down in El Paso. Hard to remember all these trades I've done in my life. Forgebane, I kept both these armies. You got your Admech versus your tier Necrons. It was a pretty solid box. And then I got actually came with the Kill Team box for the Rogue Traders, but you got the little Codex with it too. So I got the Codex of Lucian Star Shredders, which I guess should be in the Codex section of this review. After that, I got some chapters approved. I got the 2017 edition and then the 2018 edition. Really, these just added new rules to the game. Nothing really heavily changed through these. They're just updated points, new stratagems, new missions, stuff like that. Leviathan campaign supplement. It was a 3-part supplement, really. So with Leviathan, Exterminatus, and Deathstorm. It was all the Shield of Baal was the name of the campaign, and it was Blood Angels versus Tyranids, and actually they used Necrons to help win the battle overall. Then I have the Tau one, Warzone Damocles with the Montka and Canyon. I don't remember. Yes, there was. You also got Burning Dawn and Operation Shadow Talon were part of that campaign. So, some cool things there for the Tau. Tau, Admech, Imperial Guard, and Space Marines, including the White Scars and the Raven Guard. And then you got the Red Wa, Sanctus Reach campaign, Stormclaw, and Hour of the Wolf. That was Orcs versus Space Wolves, and they had some Imperial Knight presence, if I remember correctly. Really cool campaign. Then Curse of the Wolfen, Warzone Fenris. I believe there was a second book for this, but I ended up not picking it up. Somehow I missed that book. Trader's Hate was part of the Black Crusade. I really thought this was a good book. Gave some really cool stuff to Khorne, so I really like that book. And then Angel's Blade, another part of that Black Crusade. Blood Angels were giving them some new stuff in here. So after those, we started the Gathering Storm, which I think was pretty much close to the end of where I started playing. So I got Gathering Storm 1, Fall Acadia, the Gathering Storm 2, the Fracture of Beltan, and Gathering Storm 3, Rise of the Primarchs. But after that, I didn't pick up any of the others. But then, when the Psychic Awakening started happening, I did end up getting this one, Faith and Fury. I wish I'd maybe bought the rest, and maybe I'll start eBay scrounging and see if I can find them all for decently cheap, and maybe I'll pick them all up. It'd be nice to have them in hardback for sure. Alright, so after that we're going to go into a couple of supplemental type books. these just added some other types of rules to the games, right? So like battle missions. This book was basically just a book of all kinds of different scenarios you could play. Really cool book. Mine got a little bit of water damage, you might be able to see there. Planet Strike kind of let you build unique forces that were, one force was more assault oriented and the other one was more defending. Really, really cool ideas. I use this a lot when I'm planning out types of campaigns. Cities of Death was all about fighting inside that brand new terrain that Games Workshop had put out at the time. This was super like 2006-ish, 7-ish maybe. And they just come out with their plastic terrain city stuff. And so a lot of cool stuff in there. Escalation was, if I remember right, adding in the larger tanks, like Baneblades and stuff like that into your battles during 6th edition, maybe 7th. It was not quite Apocalypse. It was adding all those Apocalypse units into your normal armies. So that's what Escalation was, super heavy rolls for Warhammer 40k. After Escalation, you also had Stronghold Assault, similar to Cities of Death, except for now this was for all the brand new fortification terrain they put out, like the Aegis lines and stuff like that. Aegis lines, the Fortress of Redemption. Planetary Onslaught very much is in vein of your Planet Strike. Similar type thing, gave you rules for that, assaulting the planet from orbit, gave you new missions and some new rules for different things as well. A lot of updates. Crusade of Fire is just that, it's a campaign. Focuses on chaos and humans, but they could have aliens in there. I think they were kind of like throwing the wrench into the monkey work kind of thing. It's a really cool campaign. You use the Planetary Empire hexes to run it. Had a lot of fun with that one. Altar War is just a bunch of new missions again. Just a bunch of new missions. A lot of them are specifically for specific armies to play in. Really, really cool book to find unique missions to play with a friend. All right. Then we got the Renegade. I did get the two player box for that Renegade. Get the 2 knights. So I do got the rules for that. And then I got the Blood Oath rulebook. This was a Warhammer World exclusive book that I managed to pick up at one of the big conventions I was. Somebody was reselling, so that was really cool, unique. Buy. Really good book. Had some awesome formations in 7th edition that you could use for your corn. So I use this pretty heavily at the end of my tournament time, LVO, I want to say 2016-17 time frame maybe. Can't remember the exact year, but that seems right. Alright, then we went into Apocalypse. This was probably the start of the end for me in 40k Apocalypse, because I just started going so heavily into buying so much stuff for the Tau and the Imperial Guard, so we'd have these massive armies, and I think that cemented my gameplay in Warhammer over other game systems for many years, until other games kind of started to rear their head. After Apocalypse, you got your Apocalypse Reload, which kind of changed the rules to match the 5th edition launch of Warhammer. So after a few years later, they did a re-release of Apocalypse, and they did another re-release even after this one, but this I think was the late 6th edition, early 7th edition Apocalypse book, still using the base Warhammer rules before they changed Apocalypse 100% to its own thing. After that book, they came out with these Apocalypse Warzone books, so I got the Apocalypse Damios book. Damios is going to cover Marines and Necrons. Pandarax, which is Chaos and Dark Angels and Grey Knights and Imperial Guard. There's an audio book out there for this, the storyline of this, and it is great story. Audiobooks, lots of cool stuff happen in it, and they have like a little sub-story part of the Pandarax where Karn and Azrael fight on a Imperial ship that's been basically destroyed, and Karn stalks Azrael through the bowels of the ship. Really cool audio if you get a chance to read it. Damocles is your Tau and your White Scars part of that. It's basically just the Apocalypse book to go with that Tau campaign that we'd already seen. And then Valador is Eldar and the Tyranids, actually. So nothing really Imperial-centric on this one. So really cool. So after that, we kind of go into our first codexes. And so we're going to start our first codexes off with this, what I believe is the first 3rd edition Space Marine Codex. I believe they did 2 Space Marine Codexes in 3rd edition. But this is the first of those iconic Crimson Fist art there on the cover. After that, I didn't get the 4th edition Space Marine Codex. Somehow I skipped over it to get the 5th edition Space Marine Codex. And then I think this was 6th edition Space Marines Codex, but it might be 7th. And then my last full Space Marine Codex is this one, Codex Adeptus Astartes Space Marines. Alright. After that, we're just going to have the kind of the supplemental one. So Codex Supplement Angels of Death. I think this came out during 6th edition and gave you the Space Marine Flyers. The 4th edition, well, late 3rd edition, early 4th edition, Black Templars Codex. For many years, it was the only way to play Black Templars by themselves. I guess I have another version of that Codex Space Marines. It was stuck to the back of my Black Templar Codex. Interesting. Codex Space Wolves. This is definitely 3rd edition, early 3rd edition. Clan Rakana. That's the Iron Hands supplement. 5th edition Blood Angels. Nope. 4th edition Blood Angels. 5th edition was in a White Dwarf. Then I want to say this is late 6th, early 7th is version of Blood Angels. 4th edition Dark Angels. That's the reason I don't have a 4th edition regular Space Marine Codex is because I have this 4th edition Dark Angels Codex. Like I said, I was pretty new to the game at that point, and I maybe had missed buying a few codexes because I didn't realize every faction had their own. The next codex after that for Dark Angels that I got, and then your Death Watch codex, and that basically covers our Space Marine codexes. So after Space Marines, we got our Codex Imperial Agents. This covers your Inquisitional kind of stuff. So also Codex Assassins. I believe that's maybe mid 3rd edition Codex. And this is where I'll also put this Elusive Star Strider Codex that we've already talked about. We also have Codex Adeptus Custodes right there, which they actually gave us later the full-blown Codex, which I got. But you also got the Sisters of Silence Codex that came out with that other one. And they came out in I want to say they came out just like those other books that I got. There was a 2-player box where you got the Sisters of Silence and the Custodes, and that was the only way you had rules for originally. Demon Hunter Codex, that's 3rd edition for sure. That was later then split up into Inquisition and Grey Knights. So then you get the Grey Knight Codex shortly after that. And then Sisters of Battle Limited Edition, because my daughter was playing Sisters at that time. Alright, so after that, you got your Imperial Knights. So this was the second of the two Imperial Knights Codexes. This is the first one. And then you have your Colt Mechanicus and your Scutari. Scutari came out before Colt Mechanicus, but they were originally released as two separate books, and then later they were combined into one book. Alright, and then the last of our Imperial Codexes, right? We're getting close to the end of all the Imperial factions. We got 3rd edition Codex Katchins, 3rd edition Imperial Guard Codex, late 3rd edition Imperial Guard Codex that was mostly used throughout all of 4th edition, 5th edition Imperial Guard Codex, and then I think this was late 6th, early 7th edition's Imperial Guard Codex. I'm probably missing one of the codexes before they went to 8th/9th edition. I kind of stopped buying codexes in 7th edition at that point. If I wasn't playing it for a tournament, I really didn't need it, I guess. So I'd slow down buying codexes specifically. So then Chaos. Here's some codexes I kind of wish I had some more of. So this is the original 3rd edition codex. There was a 3.5 Chaos Codex that everybody loves. This is just the regular old 3rd codex. And then this was the majority of the time I played Chaos with this codex right here. After this Chaos Codex, I played pretty much exclusively Khorne Demonkin, but I did end up picking up the Black Legion Codex because there was some stuff in there that I thought was really interesting. And the Crimson Slaughter Codex after that. Crimson Slaughters were the faction that came out with the launch of 6th and 7th edition. They were the Chaos Marines that were fighting against the Dark Angels. I always thought they were kind of cool. I kind of wish there was more story on who exactly they followed. I always thought they were Khorne followers because of the red armor, but a lot of people would say they followed Tzeentch. Death Guard Codex. I think this is the 8th edition codex, as a matter of fact. I believe I got this for my brother, but he'd already bought one, so I ended up keeping it. This is the 8th edition Chaos Space Marine Codex, but then they actually came out with 8th Marine Chaos Space Marine Codex 2, very much like 3rd edition had 2 different Chaos Space Marine Codexes, so did 8th. A Traitor Legion supplement, I think that's actually that's from 7th edition time frame, most likely. And then the current 9th edition Space Marine Chaos Codex, which I have used because I did a little escalation league at my local Games Workshop store recently, just to try to dabble back into Warhammer. Didn't get too heavy in it, but it was interesting. Liked the book. It was a pretty good book. I do have, as well, 2 Chaos Demon Codexes. One's for 6th and one's for 7th edition. Alright, then we got our Eldar Codexes, right? So, early 3rd edition Codexes for Craft World and regular Eldar. I believe those are both super early in 3rd edition, 3rd edition. And then this was 4th edition Eldar Codex, where I kind of started dabbling in Eldar a little bit. Then we have this is probably the 6th edition Codex, and then this would be the 7th. No, this is just the Craft World book. I don't remember if Craft Worlds replaced Eldar in 7th edition, maybe. So much happened at that time frame. It was hard to keep up. Here's just the Illidan supplement and the Harlequins Codex as well, which I own it, but I've actually never used it. I don't even play Harlequins. It's the one army I don't have any models for at all, unless you want to count Space Wolves. I guess I don't have any Space Wolves either. 3rd edition Codex Orcs. I am missing 4th edition's Codex Orcs, I believe. Well, I'm missing a version of Orcs before this one came out. I don't remember exactly which one it was between the two, or maybe I'm mistaken and I'm totally wrong. But those are the first two Orc codexes I have, followed by this Orcs book, which I believe is 6th edition Codex. And then I got Waz Gazgul's Codex, which is really cool. And this still has the sleeve on it. I usually take those off. I'm surprised that one's on there. After that, we got the 4th edition Tyranid Codex. I didn't get the 5th edition Tyranid Codex, which I actually thought was kind of cool. But the 4th edition has a lot of those bio rules that you could pay for to get increased abilities that the 5th edition didn't. So I kind of like the 4th edition Codex for some things. I believe this is 6th edition's Codex. Could be 7th. And then I got the Gene Stealer Colt, which I'm 90. That is definitely a 7th edition Codex. Alright, then we got 3rd edition Necrons and 5th edition Necrons next. I dabbled in 3rd edition Necrons a little bit, and then I got really heavy in the Necrons during the 5th edition. With the release of all the new Necron stuff, there was a lot of interesting stuff that they added, so I really liked it. The loss of Pyres was a little sad, but there was so much new stuff that was such a good book. And then this is 6th editions, and then this is 7th editions Codex, and then I never got another book after that for Necrons. Alright, Dark Eldar, this is definitely the 5th edition Codex. I think I have these out of order. Then I have my 3rd edition Dark Eldar Codex. I just recently got these. Never really played Dark Eldar till recently. Kind of just dabbling in them right now. And then here's where I get all the hate from people like Dave. My original 3rd edition Tau Codex. My original Codex for the whole game. Started off with the Tau, obviously. I love the Tau. After that, got your 4th edition Tau Codex. This is by far my favorite Tau Codex ever, even though you are missing a lot of the really cool units, like the Riptides and the Storm Surges and stuff like that. The War Gear selection for the Tau in 4th edition was outstanding. Such a good job on that Codex, which unfortunately was really killed in 6th edition when this one was put out, and it was such a different Jurassic Beast that I actually stepped away from Tau and started playing Chaos for many years after that, which became my love of Chaos. The 7th edition Tau Codex, which I got after that one. I believe this is actually this might be 7th editions. I believe it's 7th editions, or it could be 8th. I think I have every version. This is definitely 8th edition because it has a power level. So there's 8th edition's Tau Codex. I thought there was a 7th edition Tau Codex. Oh yeah, there was 6th, 7th, 8th. And then I even have the 9th edition Tau Codex, which I have used just like my Chaos one, probably one time. Even has the code in the back of the book, which I still have never redeemed. I guess I don't know if we can still do that or not right now, with the edition changeover happening. And I did pick up the Farsight Enclave book as well. So Farsight Enclave book, really unique. I don't play Farsight, but I like having all the books, I guess. I like the Tau so much that I even picked up the Taros campaign. I kind of wanted to get the original one, but it was by the time I'd had a steady enough job, I guess, that I could buy the ridiculously expensive books from Forge World that they'd already came out with the 2nd edition, and you could never find the 1st edition online anywhere. I looked multiple times. So I ended up getting the 2nd edition Tauros campaign. Really cool book from Forge World. And because I was doing Chaos at the time, I also got the War Machines of the Lost and the Damned, which I did use during my tournament time frame. Played lots of cool stuff in this book here as well. And that does it for my basic Warhammer books. Other than that, I do have some like supplemental books. So like there was Shadow War Armageddon, which is kind of like Necromunda, like Necromunda Light. It was really cool. It was Space Marine, or the real Warhammer orientated. So it had some cool stuff in there. And we played lots of it, especially with my buddy Patty's Parlor Games. We played quite a bit of Shadow War Armageddon. And then here's the kill team. I think this one came out in 2015-16 time frame. It was Raven Guard versus Tau in this box set, and it's kind of the first box that gave you kill team rules all by itself. But it basically followed the normal kill team, the normal 40k rules. It didn't really change the rules too much. So after that, you got your new editions kill team. I actually got this. I actually didn't buy this book. I won this book in a free giveaway from Mini Wargaming. So this was the box, I believe, that also came with Space Marines and Tau and some terrain. I gave the Space Marines to my brother. The Tau I kept, and I gave the terrain to my brother, but I kept the book because I'm a rules book lover, obviously. And so then I started getting all the kill team stuff. So I started my daughter's little orc army up a little bit more with this Croc Skulls Boys, the Bona Boys kill team, and I got the Rogue Traders as well. Bought that box set. I bought the Advanced Strike Team Star Pulse, which was a bunch of regular Fire Warriors. Somehow I ended up with 2 of those. And then I got into the box sets after that. So I got the Pyronexus, Kill Team Chanath for the next edition after that, Kill Team Nakamund, and then Kill Team Morok. So I did manage to pick up all those, but then with the launch of the Gallow Falls kill teams, I wasn't able to pick up any of those. But maybe I'll try to get them now. Then Necromunda, I kind of consider Necromunda Warhammer adjacent. So here's my Necromunda Underhide book. Gangs of House Delaque and Gangways. I believe both of these came from a White Dwarf. But they go with my Necromunda books because I have them. I did pick up the Gang War 3 supplement because it had the Vansar rules. Vansar faction that I have for Necromunda. I do have other factions and most of, if not all, pretty close all to the hired guns from Forge World. Book of Rune because I really like the Corpse Grinder cult. I kind of want to center a campaign around the Corpse Grinder cult, where maybe it starts off in Necromunda and then evolves into a full 40k heretical inquisition happening on a planet. I've had some ideas about that for quite a while, a few years now. Then my newest book, the Ashways book, the core rule book for the newest release. There's been some more books after that one, but that's like the core book. And then the Blackstone Fortress Annual 2019 because I loved Blackstone Fortress. But that's it. That covers all of the books that I have remaining. I've lost a few, and I've had a few get destroyed over the years, so I want to replace them. But that's all the basics of my Warhammer book collection that is 40k centric. Probably will do my Warhammer Fantasy and Age of Sigmar books set next, possibly. So, hope you guys enjoyed that. We'll do a little bit talking about those later. Alright, take care everyone.